Hey everyone, welcome back to NDC, and today we're going to be exploring the rename button. So if you have a list in your app and you want the users to be able to easily rename any list items, let's say we have the notes here of the launch plan, we can use the press and hold to activate the edit note or rename button. I've customized mine, but by default, it looks like a little pencil that says rename. From here, we can edit it with our text. So if I wanted this to instead be the Q4 plan, press return, and now our note's updated. This is great, especially if you have users creating new notes on the list itself. They can then press and hold, get that rename button, or in my case, the custom edit note, and they can customize it as much as they want. Even press escape if they want to cancel that action as well, in case they've changed their mind on renaming it. And this has actually been available since iOS 16, and it lives in the rename button and rename action. By default, the platform handles the label, icon, the keyboard, and context menu position. You just handle the data. So to learn more about the rename button and the rename action, let's go ahead and dive on in. So I'm going to be starting off in a new Xcode project. I'm going to be doing the iOS app template. I'm just going to give my app a name, something like Folio. We're going to have our interface on SwiftUI and language on Swift. Now, before we explore the rename function, let's go ahead and create a new empty file. I'm going to call this note. We need to have a data model that we can be using first. So I'll import foundation, as when we create our structure here of note, we're going to make it identifiable. We're then going to create our first variable of ID, which is going to equal the UUID with the empty brackets. Then a variable of name of a string, and a variable of body, which would be that kind of text in the note body, which will also be a string, but we'll provide a default of this to be an empty string value. The name is a variable, so the rename can mutate it directly. Nothing rename specific within the model. The rename system works on top of whatever data shape you already have. All right, let's hop back over into our content view now that we have our model. We can remove the default VStack here. And in our structure of content view, let's add a state private var. This is going to hold all of our notes. That's going to be an array of our data model of note, and it'll equal an array here. So these are square brackets, and we'll just pass through a few notes. So for this one, I'm just going to have something like meeting notes, maybe another note, with the name of ideas, and we'll do a third one with the name of shopping list. In our variable body sum view, we'll display it in a navigation stack. Our brace, and we'll do a list. And we'll just look through all the notes. We'll have a brace and we'll have note in. And we'll just display it as text of the note.name. Now we can see in our preview when it refreshes, we have meeting notes, ideas, and shopping list. 3 notes, and now let's make them renameable. We're going to create a new file from template here. And we're going to call it the NoteRow. So we'll do new SwiftUI view, NoteRow. Remove our default text. Under the structure, we're going to create an @ binding. This binding is going to be our variable of note, and it will conform to our capital N note. Then we'll use the @focused state, which will be a private var. We'll call it focused. And this is going to be a Boolean value. Is it going to be focused? Are we focusing on this item, yes or no? So true or false with Boolean. 2 more states, and these are going to both be private vars. We'll have the is renaming, and that's going to be set to be false. Another Boolean. So this is going to track, okay, are we currently renaming this item, yes or no? And the other state private var is going to be the draft name. So think of this like the temporary name that we're trying to rename into. By default, once again, empty string. So our preview is currently throwing an error because it can't find the parameter note in call. You can either delete this macro real quick, as we'll see it later. Otherwise, the simple solution is to declare a note, and we'll just add like a constant. So we'll do dot constant and pass through the value. So we'll be once again looking at the note for the name. We'll just say like sample note. And we'll also provide it with a body as well. So we'll have the body parameter, and we'll just say preview body. Now let's customize to what that note row actually looks like. We're going to be using the group for this one, so we can use the if and else. So if is renaming, so that state when we're trying to rename that current note. We'll add our brace, and we'll have a text field. We'll then have the placeholder text of something like note name, and that text value is going to be the binding of our note.name. We can then use the dot focused, and this is going to be based off the condition of the binding of our @focus state called focused. We can use the dot on submit because we are using our text field, which is a benefit of using that, and we'll call upon a function called commit. We don't have it existing yet, so we'll throw an error. We'll fix it in just a moment. We can also add the dot on key press. In the argument brackets, we're going to use the dot escape. We can use the escape key. We'll add a brace and we'll call upon cancel with the empty brackets, and we'll return the dot handled result. Okay, after our if, and no worries about those errors, like I said, we'll fix them in a moment, we'll add the else, and we'll have the text to just return to the note.name. So, if we're not renaming, it'll just display that note name. The onSubmit fires when the user taps return. The onKey press catches the escape and cancels, which will restore the original. OnKey press needs iOS 17 or Mac OS 14 or higher. Let's create those two helpers. So we'll go down before our very last brace here, and we'll create two private functions. First one is commit, add our brace, and we're going to look at the if the note.name.trimming characters. So we can use this to return a new string made by removing both ends of the string characters contained in the given set. We'll use the in autofill the dot white spaces. We're then going to be looking at the dot is empty of this. We'll add a brace and we'll have the note.name to equal the draft name. We'll then go down one brace and we'll have our is renaming to then equal false. We've already done the rename, so we're going to flip that to be false now. We'll then create another private func, and this one will be cancel. Add our brace, and the note.name is just going to then equal the draft name, and the is renaming is going to then equal false. So commit, if the user submits an empty field, it'll restore to the original. A blank name is never valid, and cancel will restore regardless. Now let's get to the best part, the rename action. We're going to add this modifier to the end of the group. We're going to double click on our group. We'll go down to this brace here, and we'll add the .rename action with the code placeholder. The row needs to know when to rename has been triggered. Rename action is that contact. It defines what happens the moment any rename trigger fires, regardless how the user invoked it. Whether that's a context menu, toolbar button, keyboard shortcut, all of them arrive here. For our code, we're going to have our draft name to now equal the note.name. Our is renaming is going to be flipped to be true. We're then going to add a task. We're going to add our brace. We're then going to look at the @main_actor_in. Then we're going to look at our focused, which I actually misspelled. So I'm just going to add it right here, equal true. I'm just going to really quickly refactor that. My apologies. I'm going to refactor so all of it is focused, spelled properly. There we go. Let's rename that. So now our focus is being flipped to be true. So we have 3 steps here. Essentially, we snapshot the name, we display the text field, and then within the task, we focus it. Because the text field doesn't exist in the view hierarchy until after the is renaming flips. Setting focus synchronously means there's nothing to focus yet. The task yields 1 update cycle. Let's go back into our content view here. So we're going to change our list of notes to be the $notes. Instead of just plain note in, $note in, then our text we're going to update to be the note row, and we'll use the $note for that one. So the $notes here gives a binding to the array. The $note singular gives each row a binding to its own element. Then the note row takes it and can mutate the name directly. So if you were to try to rename, if I were to press and hold on one of these options here, you'll notice that we don't have a context menu pop up and we can't trigger that rename action. So we're going to add a trigger of rename button. So we're going to go back into the note row, and above the rename action here, we're going to add the .context menu. Then we're going to add our braces, and we're going to look at the capital R rename button with the empty brackets. Just gonna swap back to content view, or you can actually run the app in the simulator if you'd like. Now we're gonna press and hold on one of these, like meeting notes. And when you notice, we now have this rename pop-up. I'll zoom in a little bit here so it's easier to see. Now if we press the rename, we have the text field, and you can actually use your keyboard in order to change this. So instead of meeting notes, let's do meeting minutes. We can then press return, and now it's renamed. Our text field's gone. We have updated this. If we were to change ideas, hold rename, again on the simulator, the keyboard would actually pop up. Let's have this be, Q3 planning. I'll press return. Now our list has been renamed. The label and icon, so when we press and hold, we have this little pencil, and where it says rename, all come standard. If we were to remove the rename action, so if we go to our NoteRow, and let's actually comment off the rename action, we'll see that it actually grays out. Back in the content view one more time, press and hold on meeting notes. Notice it's grayed out, and clicking it does nothing. It won't offer a rename when there's nothing to rename. Let's go ahead and uncomment that off so we can use it later. One thing that's really worth understanding before moving on is SwiftUI finds the rename action by walking up the environment. Essentially, the nearest rename action to the button wins. If the .rename action here is on a list instead of one of the rows, every row's rename button calls the same action. This is the incorrect way of doing it. So in this second example here, each row has its own scope, so the nearest one wins. The same reason that nested navigation links work without conflict. Each one finds its own destination. So I'll leave this in the GitHub, I'll just comment it all off. But just important to understand how SwiftUI finds those actions. Let's talk about navigation title binding. I'm actually going to create another new file from template of a SwiftUI view, and let's call it note detail view. So the context menus work well in lists. For any document style apps where the user is inside a note and wants to rename it from the detail view, there's a more native pattern. We can actually pass a binding to navigation title, and the title becomes editable. And there's no rename action needed. The modifier handles the rename plumbing internally. So within the view here under the struct, let's add a @binding variable of note. And that's going to be that capital N note. Again, our preview is going to get messed up if we really want to real quick. We had kind of just passed through that note here. So let's go ahead and copy and paste that into our note detail view, or you can delete the preview if you'd like. Then in our variable body of some view, let's go ahead and remove the placeholder, and we'll instead have a text editor. For that text, we're going to have the binding, so $, of note.name. We can add some different things like a navigation title now. And again, we're going to have that binding of note.name, as I mentioned in the explanation. Let's also update the display mode, so we can use the navigation title, I believe it's display mode. There we go. I'm going to set mine to be inline. Let's also include a toolbar. I'll have a toolbar item. We'll include some placement. Maybe we'll do top bar trailing. And instead of the content here, we'll add our brace. And we'll have the rename button. So before we see it in action, we have 3 modifiers working together. The navigation title here actually gets the binding. The inline that I've added here is actually not optional. The editable field only appears in the inline layout, not in the large title. So I just want to point that out. Another thing to add before the toolbar is actually the toolbar role. We can add a role, automatic browser, editor, or navigation stack. We're going to give it the editor role. This shifts the title to the leading edge, which is the standard document editor position on iOS and macOS. So the toolbar rename button that we've added down here actually will connect to the editable title automatically. There's no explicit rename action anywhere within this view. Let's go ahead and go back into our content view. We're going to make the rows navigatable. So we have our lists, we have our note in, and we're going to add our navigation link. We'll add our argument brackets, and we'll have our note.name. We'll add our brace. Instead of the note row, let's instead look at the note detail view we've created, and for that note will be the binding of note. Okay, so now in our app, we have the meeting notes. We can click on it. In the top right of the toolbar, we have the rename action, or we can press on the little chevron here, and we can rename it. So we have this like custom little text box here with the X on the right side, and our meeting notes is already hovered. Let's have this be Q4 projections. Now, if we go back to our list, we can see that it's been updated to Q4 projections. We can update it one more time, and it has been updated. Now, what if we want to, instead of having this pencil that says rename, which is, pretty user-friendly, or if we want to customize it a little bit, well, there's a couple steps that we can take. I'm going to go back to our NoteRow, and where we have our context menu, instead of calling upon the rename button, we'll wire our own custom button and call upon a function. So I'm going to have a button here. We'll give it a label of maybe edit name, and then we'll include a system image. I'm just going to do the person.fill, and we'll add our brace. We're then going to call upon a function called start renaming. And essentially all we're going to be doing is flipping this rename action here and all the logic within it. We can even cut if we really want to. And we're going to put it in a private function. And we'll call it start renaming. And then we'll go ahead and paste that entire action. So we'll still have the draft name, the is renaming, and task with our main actor in and flipping the focus to be true. A little bit of extra work just to have that custom label, but now we'll see when the preview loads that we can press and hold. We have edit name. We can go ahead and rename this. I'll have it be, Q3 notes. There we go. So if you do want to have that customization, that is how you can do it. And that's the rename/custom rename button. We even explored renaming the kind of headers here, the navigation titles. So by default, you have this built-in rename button to really reduce a lot of the friction. You don't have to create like a custom binding with a custom text field and like a little section at the very bottom of your list. Users instead can press and hold and then edit and change any of those list items. So the next time you have a list where users can modify the items, don't recreate what SwiftUI already provides you in that rename button action. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Full GitHub always in the description below. Otherwise, dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.